Hello and welcome to the Eat Up Kitchen. I'm Jenny, UP's professional chef, and today I'm going to be talking you through how to make our delicious Italian turkey meatballs. When you're looking to get in great shape, it's really important to consider a balanced, nutritious diet. And as our founder Nick Mitchell would say, try to eat as much as possible from the land. It's really important to make sure you get enough lean protein at every meal. Protein's really filling and it will support the growth of muscle tissue. To make this recipe, you will need the following ingredients. So first things first, to make your meatballs, you're going to want to take your mozzarella and just pop that straight in there, and your sun-dried tomatoes. Now the best thing to do with these is just stack them all up together and just give them a little chiffonade so that they're nice small pieces throughout the meatballs. You don't really want any big chunky bits of sun-dried tomato. Straight into the mix. Next up, a bit of fresh parsley. And you just, again, going to chop that really fine. Again, you don't really want any big chunks of parsley to chomp down on in your meatballs. And get those straight in there too. Next, you're going to add some crushed garlic. Just take 1 clove, give it a little bash. Take the skin off, and you're just going to mince that with your knife. Just going to pop that straight in there. So a little bit of sea salt and black pepper. And now it's time to combine all those ingredients to make your meatball mix. So just use your fingers and get right in there. Combine everything up together. You don't want big clumps of anything in one meatball. You don't want all your mozzarella in one meatball. You want it all to be nicely combined. So do take your time with this and just, massage all the ingredients together and get all those flavors working together beautifully. That looks good to me. Let's roll. This portion size should make 6 good sized meatballs. Now we do, with our Eat Up ready meal service, weigh these meatballs out exactly to the gram. But if you're just making this at home, as long as you use up all of the mixture, you don't need to worry. Great, so now you've got your meatballs already made, let's get them in the oven. These will take 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees. Obviously everyone's oven's a little bit different, so just keep an eye on them and make sure they're cooked through. Right, so while your meatballs are in the oven, let's get your sauce made. So to begin with, you need 1 clove of garlic. Just smash that like we did before, and finely dice. Next, you want to slice up your mushrooms. Now these mushrooms have got quite long little tails, so we're just going to nip the ends off. And slice those pretty finely if you can. Don't want them to be too chunky because there's only a few. This is what 50 grams of mushrooms looks like. Right, finally, you're just going to halve these little cherry tomatoes and they're going to go in the sauce. So now we're ready to go. Let's get that olive oil heated in the pan. So first you want to add 2 teaspoons of olive oil straight into the pan, and we're just going to gently warm that up. So just add your garlic, mushrooms and tomatoes straight into the pan. So we're looking for just under 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, although if you really like it, you can go a little bit extra. It's really important with this to keep stirring just while you're cooking off the mushrooms and garlic, because if you leave it still for too long, the garlic is likely to burn and we don't want that. Brilliant. So now, as those mushrooms are almost ready, we can start adding in to make our sauce. So you want to add ½ a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar. Give that a good stir. Oh, that smells delicious, really good. And then you're ready to put in your tomato passata. We've got 100 grams here. Now this is enough once it's reduced down to make a light sauce. We don't want to drench the noodles in the sauce. We just want to add some flavour and a little bit of moisture to the dish. So let's just pour that in there. And then we're going to top it up with our chicken stock. Now, like I said at the start, you can add as much or as little of this as you want to taste, really. It depends on how you like your sauce. I've got 125 millilitres here, and I'm just gonna slowly add it in until it's a consistency that I like. Just stir that around. Oh, it's looking great. I'm just gonna add a little bit more of that. And I'm just going to turn that heat up a little bit now to bring it up to temperature so it starts simmering and reducing down into a nice thick sauce. While we're here, I'm just going to chiffonade some fresh basil so we can add that to the end once the sauce is ready. You don't want to add the basil too soon because it will just wilt and you'll lose the flavour and the colour of the herb. So I'm just going to get that done now. I'm going to leave that there, and once this sauce is nearly ready, we can just add the finishing touch. Now that it's simmering, I can just reduce the heat and allow it to simmer for another 10 to 15 minutes until it's thickened up nicely. Next, it's time to make the butternut squash noodles. I've prepped this butternut squash in advance. All I've done is sliced off the skin. It's as simple as that. You can use a good peeler if you've got one, and if not, just slice it with a knife. It's a good idea to get a pan of water on the boil ready because we're just going to dip these in and out of the water so they're nice and soft but they're still al dente, the same way as you would expect spaghetti. There we go, look, lovely butternut squash noodles. Perfect. Okay, so now your water's getting nice and hot, we can just blanch those butternut squash noodles. They're going to go straight in as the pan is bubbling hot, and you want to leave them in there literally for no more than 2 minutes, because if you leave them any longer they're going to go soft and mushy, and we don't want that. So I'm going to pop them in now. And just move them around. Make sure they're all submerged in the water, and just keep your eye on them. Right then, so these are about ready now, so I'm just going to drain them off and run them under the cold tap so they stop cooking, and then we can start plating our dish. Now we have got our butternut squash noodles, and you can actually just add a tiny bit of that shredded basil through the noodles. It not only looks great, adds a little bit of flavour too. So let's just drop that in there. If you wish, you can season them at this point, but don't forget you are going to be pouring the sauce over the top, so don't worry too much about that. This sauce is reducing down nicely now. As you can see, it's getting a lot thicker. It's time to check on those meatballs. So there you go, your turkey meatballs are cooked. They should be just lightly golden brown. As you can see, those lovely chunks of mozzarella have started to go a real nice golden colour on the top there. Now it's time to add that chiffonade of basil that we prepared earlier into your sauce, and you can turn that off the heat now and just stir that in. Like I said, if you leave it until the end, you don't lose too much colour from the basil, but you still get all of the flavour infused into that sauce. All you're going to do with this sauce is pour it straight on top of your butternut squash noodles. And this should just coat them. It's not going to be a very thick sauce. It's not going to completely overwhelm the dish. It's just going to coat these noodles and give them a really nice flavour. Great, so now your butternut squash noodles are coated in that delicious tomato sauce. Let's get plating. So you just want to add the base of these noodles. Just pile them all up at the bottom of your plate. And then we're just simply going to top them with your turkey meatballs. So just add those 6 meatballs on the top there, and then garnish with a little basil leaf. Delicious. Brilliant. So now you know how to make this delicious Italian turkey meatball recipe. Perhaps you don't have time to make this yourself, but fear not, we've got you covered. We've set up Eat Up, which is available from Manchester and Hong Kong, where we will prepare delicious high protein meals like this just for you. You can find out more about this service by clicking the link below to visit our website. Stay tuned for the next recipe to come from the Eat Up kitchen.